Welcome to the virtual lunch. Today is Friday, August 12th, and this is virtual lunch number 617. Our guest today is Joseph Anderson, the Director of Information Technology at Miller Johnson and the President of the ALA West Michigan chapter. And this is, of course, part of our continuing series on igniting innovation with SurePoint Technologies.
Thank you so much for being here, Joe. We really appreciate it. So excited for you to be the guest and learn about all the great things you're doing at the firm and with the chapter. I run the marketing team at SurePoint, and we help law firms better run their businesses. And so excited that we're going to have this discussion today.
I'm Ed Deaton. I work very closely with Lydia at SurePoint. Excited to join today and for you to be part of this amazing community.
Amy, I'm a content marketing manager with SurePoint, and I work closely with Lydia, Ed, and Sarah.
Tell us about your background and your role at Miller Johnson.
I always wanted to be a lawyer and just decided that that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I graduated in a period of time when we were in a recession. My first job offer, full-time salaried position, was just a little bit over $15,000 a year. When I got done with undergrad, I worked for Skip at the state of Minnesota. I went to the University of Denver, got my master's degree in legal administration, worked at the Federal District Court in Colorado, kind of embarked on a career in legal administration. And then I had to find a job closer to him, and I joined IBM. So almost after 20 years with IBM, I woke up one morning and I said, I always said I was going to go back. Might as well do it now. So about 3 years ago, I made the decision to leave IBM and pursue the legal field again. Very fortunate to get the job of Director of IT at Miller Johnson. It's a great firm. Love Western Michigan, love the Grand Rapids area, and was really settling in. Everything was going really good. And then on 6 months to the day I started working here, Gretchen shut down the state for COVID. Said, go home, stop meeting people, stop interacting with people. It's kind of how I got here. We did a survey of our end users about 2 weeks before the shutdown, assessed who had what and what we needed to do. I ran out with 3 credit cards in my hand and bought every Chromebook and everything that I could. We handed them out to everybody, and knock on wood, well, I guess it's way past then, but on the 24th of March, everybody just logged in. And since we're a VDI, Citrix VDI shop, everybody just logged in the morning on Tuesday morning, and everything was working. You got to take full advantage of every opportunity you get. And we did that. So we had a lot of things that were kind of, hey, aspirational. We're going to do this over the next 12 to 18 months. That 12 to 18 months became 12 to 18 days. And it was great because take advantage of the tragedy. Do all those things that was going to be tough for people to stomach and just do it. As we've been trying to roll out technology, there's the adopters, the nice to have, the you're never going to give this to me or get me to use it type people. And that didn't change, except for the fact that when we were forced, you must do this because this is the only way we can do it. They said, all right, don't like it, but I'll do it. That was one of the advantages of the COVID era for us. I think a lot of people perceived normal as something. So I was talking to one of the attorneys. It was going to be normal when they went to a concert. It was going to be normal when they went out to dinner and didn't wear a mask. It was going to be, everybody has a definition of normal. And I think some firms had a definition of we're not going to be normal until everybody's back in the office. And I think a lot of firms in this area, I don't know if it's West Michigan, I don't know if it's the community, but it was it's over was when we can fully open up the office and everybody can go to the office. And I don't think it, from a personal standpoint, I worked remotely for a little over 23 and a half years, didn't report to an office every day for 23 and a half years. I don't know how much more productivity you get out of people by having them come into the office. I think we were very productive when we had to go home on a flash. But I truly think that there was a big push to get everybody back. Hey, everybody's back. Now the pandemic is over since we're all back. Now, if you ask that question again, I think people are peeling back and going from, you have to be in the office 5 days a week, you have to be in the office 4 days a week, hey, it's summer, maybe it's 3 days a week. And I think people are starting to recognize that, yes, that's not the criteria that this is over, that we're in a new normal. and we have to establish what that new normal is. So from a technology standpoint, so I think the biggest thing that we're struggling with right now is we went from a VDI environment, kind of a closed, secure environment that we had in place for a decade. And then we went home, and then everybody started using more computers, more peripherals, more things, Zoom calls, Teams calls. And then a lot of what I'm getting is the environment isn't good enough because we have these new demands on it. And I should be able to bring up a web browser and browse the web as fast as I can on my machine at home, which isn't running any security and not running anything at all. I could say from a struggle standpoint, it's how do we balance the security aspect and the performance aspect and try and deliver what people are asking for on both ends. I walk the halls and I talk to different, what are your issues? What are your concerns? What are you looking to do? And a lot of times I just hear, we have to go faster. And what is faster? If I give you the greatest machine on the face of the planet and you're as fast as you can, but all of a sudden we compromise security and we don't have a cybersecurity policy, and we lose all our clients' data, how much does that faster make us better? So that's kind of the balancing. I'm asking them to challenge me to provide more as the vendors that I have relationships with are introducing and bringing new things into their portfolio. Where do those fit in our place? We're trying to deliver the tools, trying to meet the needs of the members of the firm and everybody in the firm.
When we were referencing the Implementing Financial Intelligence report, where we interviewed financial leaders and how the pandemic really shifted and changed their roles. And in that report, there was a lot of learnings in terms of some CFOs, an example, became, a cultural advocate within their firm because they were kind of having to see across, or, some attorneys or leaders said, now we've been put in this position of like the trusted advisor to the managing partners because of their having to analyze profitability. But I'm curious, like if you were to reflect on the role that IT plays, like pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, or during the pandemic, what is something that you would say like is new or that I didn't anticipate before the pandemic?
The interesting thing about IT is 80 to 90% of it is just there, and people really don't pay attention to it. I think that's the one thing that's tough, because as you're trying to bring innovation to the firm and you're trying to improve things within the firm, it's just there. I don't think the role has really changed, and I don't think there's any huge challenges that have significantly changed in the seat of the IT director, at least as I can see it. I think there's more pressure and more stress on the role and delivery because through the pandemic, I think there was a shift where people started paying attention more to the IT systems. And if it's not the old, if they're broken, now we worry about it. Now it's like, if they're not the way that we would like them, now we start worrying about them. And that's kind of one of the shifts that I've noticed. For us, the biggest thing was getting video on the desktop for an individual. So we, don't ask me how, but we figured out how to run Zoom in VDI, and the ability for end users to actually join a Zoom session in a virtual desktop, which wasn't supported at the beginning of the pandemic. And we figured out a way to make it work. And that's just grown and continued on. There are some things that we've tried to push and that we're trying to accelerate from a SharePoint perspective. We're trying to increase the use of mobile apps, mobile timekeeping, accessing via mobile devices, not just a phone, but an iPad and things along those lines. And I think we're getting a little adoption there, but we're trying to get more adoption. From an pure IT perspective, I would encourage, and I have encouraged everybody on my team to become CISSPs. I think being a security expert, and that is the way of the world, either that or data. My last stint at IBM, I was doing operations at Watson Health, big data management. From my perspective, from an IT perspective, those are the two biggest things that are needed now and are going to be needed in the future. Anything to do with data, the management of data, the analyzing data, I think those are the two key things going forward in the world. I mean, even when we look at SharePoint, we look at profitability and some of the things that we're trying to do there as a firm. That's just the analysis of data and how data can be applied and can be consumed and applied and taken forward. And it's all about how you look at that data and how you manage that data.
Joseph Anderson, everybody. Thanks so much to SharePoint for supporting our series on igniting innovation. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend.